Hi guys, it's Brendan
and Leanne,
and we're back again for our second installment of a bit of an insight of our life and what our life is like, documenting our journey as we go through some training to better help our mental health. Massive thank you to everyone yesterday that liked, shared, subscribed to our video. It was very, very encouraging. We got over 100 views so far, and we wanted that to grow. Again, want to share our heart is that we want our journey to actually encourage people and uplift people and even inspire people. And we want to be able to offer people I guess resolutions, but also just show them that we actually love them and that generally speaking what we went through, we felt alone, however we know we weren't alone. So today we want to look a little bit at our mental health. It's been a very long journey, so we won't go too much into it. We will try and keep the video much shorter than our yesterday's video, which was nearly half an hour. So apologies, but thank you to all those people that watched it to the very end. So I want to start off by saying we've had a very long mental health journey. We've both struggled with different forms. It originally started with myself with depression, and then that manifested into anxiety. I've got a nice list of diagnoses including Tourette's and bipolar and all this sort of stuff. So it's something that we've journeyed with, as well as Leanne. Leanne struggled with depression and anxiety. We both been diagnosed with PTSD. So let's give you a little bit of background. So we shared a little bit yesterday. Prior to Leanne falling pregnant, we didn't really have any mental health problems other than normal, like being nervous. When a cop pulls you over, your heart races. When you have to get up and speak in front of people, you get anxious, I guess. But it wasn't anything too bad. But then when Leanne fell pregnant, we spoke to a few, we were so excited, we spoke to a few people, and I guess what actually triggered was one of the people we told, a couple of people we told actually turned around to us and said, well, don't get too excited, it's still early, there's still a good chance that the baby will die. And that was a very jilted moment where it sort of snapped in my head, and it wasn't very good. So over the next couple of months I suffered very strongly with depression, very strongly with anxiety, not social anxiety but just anxiety about the pregnancy. We went ahead and progressed with the pregnancy, of course. We made it past the 13 weeks, and just after we got past the 13 weeks I had a meltdown, and in the middle of my meltdown I tried to overdose on some things, and it was actually, it didn't work. It actually just made me very tired. I went to work that day, and on my way home I went to walk in front of a train, but someone actually stopped me, which started a very fun couple of weeks where I was admitted into a psychiatric hospital, which was terrifying for those of you that have been in there before. It was very, very scary because you get all sorts of people in there, but also you're so drugged up. I was drugged up to the hilt that I barely remember anything. And as I've been told, my sisters flew down from Queensland and I had no idea who they were. That's how medicated I was. Spent 12 days in there, got out, and we were told we moved back to Queensland, which we touched on yesterday. Moved back to Queensland. Meanwhile, my family were great. My wife was so awesome, very encouraging all the time. We got back to Queensland, and as we touched on yesterday in the video, which we'll link below, I didn't cope too well with the move back. I had a car accident just after we lost our daughter, which was pretty horrific actually.
Pretty scary.
It was very scary. I actually took the car off the side of the road and fell down into a river. I spun the car several times, so it was very, very terrifying. But we made it through that, and then the following year, in the 1st of January, Leanne's mental health took a hit.
I think it was the first Christmas after we lost Sue. I got a call from the clinic that helped us with fertility in Melbourne, and she was asking me how I was enjoying motherhood, how Sue was going, how everything was going, and I said to her, have you read my file? And she's like, I've got it right in front of me. And I said, well, read it. And it was then that she realised that she should have read the file first because they knew what had happened. And then she started asking me questions about how long was labour, did we know Sue was sick before she was born? And she was just asking me all these questions. And Christmas Eve, I didn't cope. So I was off most of the next year. But
no, yeah, 1st of January is your first day off.
Yeah.
You went back first week in November, if I recall.
Yeah. So I was off most of that year, but I'm glad that we were back in Queensland, because we couldn't have gone through all we went through without our family and friends.
Yeah.
We owe a great deal with them, because just after we lost our daughter, we actually had family unpack for us, so we didn't have to worry about doing that. So
Unpacked our entire house.
Yeah, which was a huge
including
blessing.
cupboards and drawers. It was great.
It was just, they've been absolutely amazing, and we love our family. It's very much.
Yeah, so just after Leanne had her breakdown there, it was probably the middle of the following January, so probably about 12 weeks later, it was my turn. My brain had just had enough, and something had happened at work. If I recall, I've kind of blocked it out. If I recall, someone came in with a bat, and I worked in a bank, which was terrifying. And I snapped, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I had a psychiatric breakdown. It wasn't so much depression this time. I didn't have any depression this time. It was a lot of anxiety. It was so bad. The first couple of weeks, my task for the day was to get out of bed. And I don't mean get out of bed and stay out of bed. It was just to get out of bed for 10 minutes before going back to bed. I would get up to go to the bathroom, and that was about the only time I'd get up, because the idea of taking my feet out from underneath the blankets terrified me, that something was going to be there, something was going to get me. So I was off work for about 6 months, and over that time I had to train myself to get up, train myself to go to the bathroom again. I had to train myself to be able to stay out of the bed for longer periods of time as the days went on. Then I had to start looking out the window. I had to look out the window for 5 minutes a day. Then I had to open up the front door for 5 minutes a day and stand in front of the door. Then I had to open up the door and unlock the door, so that I was standing in front of an unlocked door. And then I had to train myself to stand out the front, so sitting on the front doorstep. Then I had to learn to go out and get the mail. And so my jobs were bit by bit there. I was on a number of PRN medications, so I had to take them as required, as well as antidepressants, anti-anxieties. And then going to the psychologist and a psychiatrist was horrible, because I had to actually leave the house and drive there. So there was times when Leanne had to drive, because I couldn't bring myself to drive. So then we were sort of in touch and go. We'll have a day here and a day there, and a moment here and a moment there. There'll be a moment when something big's coming up, so we'll panic, like I might have a panic attack today, but then I might not have one for another 6 months. And so that's been touch and go for the last 3 years or so. But then a couple of weeks ago, it happened to me again, where suddenly I socially anxious. It's actually very funny. It happened out of nowhere. We work in an environment which is fantastic. I'd took a week off work prior to this, because I had a bad back. So I took the week off work, and my boss was like, yep, take some leave. You got all this leave there, so make sure you take some. So I did, took some leave, and on the Thursday, we went out shopping. On the Wednesday, went grocery shopping on the Thursday, had some friends over, and they've got lots of kids. And they were here for dinner, and I had a panic attack in the middle of dinner. So that was probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago now, and so I'm still in that zone. I've been able to go to work this time, which has been good. When I get to work, put my headphones on, my headphones stay on, and I focus on the screen. I'm quite productive, because I keep myself undistracted, but I haven't been able to go into the main building, and I haven't been able to go to meetings and so on. It's actually been really, really, really tough. But with that being said, we're making progress. I went to the shops yesterday, and I was very proud of myself. This morning we went to church, and I got to church, and I was inside, but there's probably just too much going on sensory-wise. It was dark with flashing lights. There was loud, but it was loud and it smelled. It wasn't a bad smell necessarily, just like there was a smell that I'd never smelt it before. Anyway, and I couldn't stay in there, so I went and sat in the car while I said to Leanne, you stay in there, I'm going to sit in the car. And I sat in the car and a friend came out and just sat in there with me, and we just chatted while the service was on. So yeah, it's been a rough one this time because we think it might be sensory. I've got a psychologist who's given us some interesting advice, I'm going to say. He thinks one of my main problems is my faith, but also my main solution is my faith in God, which is a very odd thing. Anyway, so now we're here, and again, we want to share this with you. We this week should arrive our DVDs, which we're both going to be doing. It's called the Dynamic Neural Retraining System. I had to read that then, or DNRS system. It looks at your limbic system, which is your brain, and the overactivity of your fight or flight mechanisms, which is very big when I get anxious. Fight or flight. I get terrified and I just want to collapse and I almost pass out for no reason. So we're going to be doing that, and so we want to document that. We want to see how that works. There's so many videos of people who have had marvelous success, so we're going to give that a shot. And so I will put a link in the bottom of this comments. It will, the website is actually called retrainthebrain.com. It's based in the United States. A lady there did it. I'm still learning all about it. I've got a friend who suggested it, who's a very good friend of mine. Her name's Serena Hockey, currently suffering from Lyme disease in Canada. And she started this several weeks ago, and she was referred by another friend of hers who I just watched her videos this morning and yesterday. I'm very inspired. You can find them on my Facebook page. So yeah, we're going to be going ahead and doing that, which will be good fun, and we'll be able to document our progress. We'll probably be posting videos every, maybe once a week, it might be twice a week. Don't plan on doing them every day. At the moment, we're just trying to get everything out there so everyone that's watching and following is aware. Other than that, do you have anything else to add?
No, that's pretty much it.
That's about it. All right, I'll probably bring you to work with me tomorrow. So that way we can, I can show you a little bit about my workspace, and then that way Leanne can show you a little bit about her workspace, do a little bit of a chat there, but not a big one, won't be in front of people. Other than that, we will be posting our updates. We'll probably post after our first day, and then every couple of days after that. As well as that, we really want to take you guys through our life. We think documenting where we are now, and then if we were to continue to put up videos in, say, 3, 6, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years, however long, we want to see where we've come from and where we're going. And we want to bring you guys on that journey to show that there is hope, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We struggle to believe that at the moment. However, we continue to remind ourselves that there is light at the end of the tunnel. We have, like I said, great friends that are surrounding us and uplifting us in prayer, and we pray you'll join us. And also, as we said yesterday, we'd love to pray for you. We'd love to share with you any questions you have for us about our journey, about how we got through certain things, more about the program. If you want to ask more questions about our friend Serena, who's going through this process, I'll probably also put her in the comments as well. She's got a GoFundMe at the moment as she's in Canada. She's a bit stuck in Canada at the moment because of her allergies and so on, which this is supposed to fix. So I'll put her GoFundMe in the comments because I would really love if you would be able to support her. Please, you know, like and subscribe and share it with your friends. Our goal is actually to encourage people, inspire people, and also just to show where we've come from and where we're going.
Definitely.
All right, we love you guys. Take care.
See ya. Bye.